Most people wake up every morning believing the world is something that happens to them. They believe life is random, that success is luck, that power belongs to other people. And because they believe that, they live small lives. They wait, they hope, they complain, they scroll. But what if that belief is wrong? What if the world doesn't move first? What if you move first and the world follows? Every powerful person you admire didn't wait for permission. Not Elon Musk, not Oprah Winfrey, not Steve Jobs. They didn't sit around hoping reality would be kind to them. They decided who they were going to be, and reality adjusted. Here's the truth most people are never told. Your life does not change when your circumstances change. Your life changes when your thinking changes. The world is a mirror. It reflects back the energy, beliefs, and standards you carry inside. If you think small, the world treats you small. If you expect nothing, the world gives you nothing. If you walk like you belong nowhere, life pushes you nowhere. But when you change the way you think, something strange begins to happen. Opportunities start showing up. People treat you differently. Doors open that were never open before. Not because the world suddenly became nicer, but because you started moving differently inside your own mind. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how two people can live in the same city, with the same education, the same resources, the same time in a day, but one builds a powerful life, and the other stays stuck for years? It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not background. It's mindset. One person sees obstacles. The other sees leverage. One person says, "This is impossible." The other says, "Let me figure out how." The world doesn't bend for wishers. It bends for deciders. Right now, as you're listening to this, your mind is quietly shaping your future. Every belief you hold is giving instructions to reality. Every thought you repeat is telling life how to treat you. If deep down you believe, "I'm not good enough," the world will confirm it. If deep down you believe, "I always fail," life will bring you proof. Not because the world is cruel, but because your mind is setting the filter. And here's the uncomfortable part. The world is not designed to reward potential. It only rewards identity. You don't get what you want. You get what you think you deserve. If you see yourself as average, you will live an average life, even if you have great talent. If you see yourself as powerful, you will find ways to create power, even in weak situations. This is why motivation alone doesn't work long term. You can feel hyped for one day, but if your identity stays the same, your life snaps back to the old pattern. So the real question isn't, how do I get more motivation? The real question is, who do I believe I am? Because once your identity changes, your habits change, your decisions change, your standards change. And when your standards change, the world has no choice but to respond. Most people are trying to change their life from the outside in. New job, new city, new routine, new people, but nothing sticks because they never change inside first. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And right now, your current life is proof of your current thinking. Not to shame you, not to judge you, but to wake you up. Because the moment you realize this, you take back control. You stop blaming. You stop waiting. You stop begging life for permission. You become the person who decides. And when you become that person, the world starts bending. The reason most people never feel in control of their life is because they don't control their inner dialogue. There's a voice in your head talking to you all day long. That voice is either building you or breaking you. For some people, that voice says, "You're not ready yet. Someone else is better than you. Play it safe. Don't embarrass yourself." And because they listen to that voice, they stay invisible. But the people who bend reality, they train that voice. They don't wait to feel confident. They decide to act confident. They don't wait to feel strong. They move like someone strong would move. And slowly, their brain catches up to their behavior. This is how identity is built, not by affirmations alone, but by proof. Every time you do the hard thing, your brain updates your self-image. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, Your mind starts believing you're powerful. Every time you walk away from comfort, you rewrite who you think you are. Most people are waiting for confidence before they act. But confidence comes after action. You don't become confident and then take risks. You take risks, and confidence is born from surviving them. That's why the world seems to favor certain people. Not because they're special, but because they move before they're ready. You see this in athletes like Michael Jordan. He didn't become fearless after he won championships. He became a champion because he trained his mind to attack fear. You see it in leaders like Barack Obama. He didn't wait until everyone believed in him. He moved first, and belief followed. The pattern is always the same. Move first, believe later. The world rewards movement. Indecision is invisible to reality. The world cannot bend to a person who doesn't choose a direction. This is why clarity is power. When you decide, this is who I am now, life begins reorganizing around that decision. People treat you differently. Opportunities line up differently. Even your own energy feels different, because certainty is magnetic. Uncertainty repels. You can walk into the same room, say the same words, but if your energy changes, the outcome changes. That's not motivation talk. That's psychology. Humans respond to certainty. They feel it before they understand it. This is why some people can say nothing and still command attention, and others can talk nonstop and still be ignored. It's not volume, it's presence. Presence comes from alignment, from knowing who you are and not negotiating with doubt every second. Let me be real with you. You are not stuck because life is hard. You are stuck because you are playing safe with your identity. You're trying to upgrade your results without upgrading your self-image. But the world will never give you more than you believe you can handle. So, if you want the world to bend, you have to first bend your own limits. You have to start seeing yourself as the kind of person who takes action when it's uncomfortable, speaks up when it's risky, commits when it's scary, not perfectly, not every time, but more often than you used to, because identity is built through repetition. One brave choice doesn't change your life. A pattern of brave choices does. And here's the shift that changes everything. Stop asking, what should I do? Start asking, what would the strongest version of me do right now? That question forces growth. That question forces honesty. That question pulls you out of excuses. And when you begin to live from that question, the world starts responding to you differently, because you're no longer reacting to life. You're directing it. And the moment you become a director of your own behavior, you become a director of your future. There's a moment in every transformation where comfort and growth collide. That moment feels like fear. It feels like uncertainty. It feels like your old self begging you to stay the same. Most people listen to that voice, not because it's right, but because it's familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar growth. So people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, routines that shrink them, not because they have no options, but because their identity is attached to comfort. The world bends for people who break that attachment. Growth requires betrayal. You have to betray the old version of you to become the new version of you. And that betrayal hurts because your old habits feel like home. But home can become a prison when you never leave it. This is why discipline changes lives. Not motivation, not hype, not watching videos like this. Discipline. Discipline is choosing your future over your feelings. Discipline is doing what builds you, even when your emotions try to negotiate. And here's the truth most people avoid. Your emotions are not your enemy, but they are terrible leaders. If you let your emotions decide your actions, your future will always be unstable. The people who bend reality don't wait to feel like doing the work. They train themselves to move, even when they don't feel like it. Look at someone like Kobe Bryant. He didn't rely on motivation to train. He relied on standards. His identity wasn't, I train when I feel inspired. His identity was, I'm the kind of person who shows up. And when your standards rise, the world meets you there. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They say they want a better life, but they protect the habits that created their current one. You cannot demand a new future while defending old patterns. Something has to go. Your excuses, your comfort, your attachment to who you used to be. The world does not bend for half commitment. It bends for people who burn the bridge behind them, not in a reckless way, but in a decisive way. You don't need to destroy your life overnight, but you do need to decide that the old version of you is no longer in charge. From this point forward, you act from intention, not reaction. You move from standards, not moods. You choose growth, not familiarity. That's when life begins to feel different. You start respecting yourself more. You start trusting yourself more. And when you respect yourself, the world reflects that respect back, because the world always follows the signal you send. If you signal weakness, life tests you harder. If you signal strength, life gives you responsibility. And responsibility is power in disguise. Most people want power without responsibility, but the world doesn't work like that. You earn influence by handling weight. You earn opportunities by carrying pressure. You earn a bigger life by proving you can hold a bigger identity. This is why small commitments matter. Waking up when you said you would. Doing the work you promised yourself. Finishing what you start. These are not small things. They are identity builders. Every kept promise tells your mind, I am someone who can be trusted. And once you trust yourself, you move differently in the world. You speak differently. You decide faster. You tolerate less disrespect. And when you tolerate less disrespect from yourself, the world follows your lead. This is how the bending starts. Not with miracles, not with luck, but with a quiet discipline of becoming the person your future requires. At some point in your life, you're going to realize something that changes everything. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your family, not your boss, not the system. And that realization can feel heavy until you understand what it really means. It means you are free. Free from waiting. Free from excuses. Free from the lie that someone else controls your destiny. The moment you stop waiting for rescue, you step into ownership. And ownership is the moment the world starts bending. Most people live like background characters in their own story. They react to events. They complain about circumstances. They wait for permission to become who they want to be. But main characters don't wait. They decide. They decide what they stand for. They decide what they tolerate. They decide what kind of life they're building. And when you decide, the world listens. Not because the world is kind, but because clarity creates momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. A small decision acted on daily becomes unstoppable force over time. You don't need to change your entire life today. You need to change one standard, one boundary, one habit, one belief. That single shift becomes a ripple. A ripple becomes a wave. A wave becomes a new identity. A new identity creates a new reality. This is how transformation actually happens. Not overnight, not in one viral moment, but in quiet decisions no one applauds. The days you show up tired. The days you work when nobody is watching. The days you say no to comfort, so you can say yes to your future. That's where power is built. Let me tell you something real. You don't need more time. You don't need more money. You don't need more connections. You need more courage to become who you already know you could be. Because deep down, you already feel it. That tension inside you, that restlessness, that sense that you're meant for more, that's not ego. That's intuition. That's the part of you that sees your potential and is frustrated that you're still negotiating with fear. Fear will always have a reason. Fear will always have logic. Fear will always sound responsible. But fear has never built anything meaningful. Every meaningful life was built by someone who acted before they felt ready. People like Dwayne Johnson didn't start confident. They started committed. People like J.K. Rowling didn't start successful. They started stubborn about their vision. People like Walt Disney didn't start with approval. They started with belief in an idea no one else could see yet. None of them waited for perfect conditions. They moved in imperfect ones. And that's the pattern of power. You move first. Reality rearranges second. This is why the world feels unfair to people who wait. Because the world does not reward potential. It responds to pressure. When you put pressure on life through consistent action, life responds with opportunity. When you put pressure on yourself to grow, the world feels less heavy. The moment you raise your standards, your environment starts to feel too small. You outgrow conversations that don't inspire you. You outgrow habits that drain you. You outgrow people who only knew the old version of you. And this part is important. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some people benefit from you staying small. Some people are comfortable with the version of you that doesn't challenge them. So when you start changing, expect resistance, not because you're wrong, but because growth disrupts the comfort of others. That resistance is a sign you're evolving. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be aligned with who you're becoming. And alignment creates peace. Peace doesn't come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from knowing you're living honestly. When your actions match your values, you sleep better at night. You move with less anxiety. You speak with more clarity. That inner alignment sends a powerful signal to the world. People trust aligned individuals. Opportunities follow aligned individuals. Energy gathers around aligned individuals. Because alignment looks like confidence, and confidence changes outcomes. Here's a hard truth. If you keep living the same way you've been living, your life will look the same a year from now. Different days, same patterns, same excuses, same limits. But if you decide today that your standards are rising, a year from now, your life won't even look familiar. Not because life magically changed, but because you did, and the world followed. So let this be the moment you stop waiting. Stop waiting for clarity. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for confidence. Clarity comes from movement. Motivation comes from progress. Confidence comes from surviving discomfort. Take the step you've been avoiding. Send the message. Start the project. Make the call. Cut the habit. Commit to the discipline. Not because you feel ready, but because your future is tired of waiting for you. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be decisive. Decide that the old version of you is done running the show. Decide that comfort is no longer your goal. Decide that growth is now your identity. And once you decide, watch how your posture changes. Watch how your voice changes. Watch how your choices change. And as your choices change, your results will follow. This is the moment where the story turns. The moment where you stop living on autopilot and start living on intention. The moment where you stop asking life for permission and start giving life direction. The world doesn't bend for people who wish. It bends for people who become. So become the person who moves. Become the person who commits. Become the person who refuses to live a small life. And when you do, the world will bend.